top, that's where you find me, oh, somewhere over the rainbow, bluebirds fly, and the dream that you dare to, oh why can't I? Oh, someday I wish upon a star, wake up where the clouds are far behind. Be where trouble melts like a lemon drops, high above the chimney top, that's where you find me, oh, somewhere over the rainbow, way up high. The dream that you dare to, why, oh why can't I?
Awesome. That's a beautiful song, and it carries a very high frequency of expression. And it's interesting, when you start to study the level of expression through song, and you can really pinpoint the actual frequency, you can pinpoint the actual expression that's coming from this being. And even this being, they might not even be fully conscious of what they're doing, but they're connected to the feeling aspect of it. So it just comes through. This is another art form of connecting to these higher dimensional frequencies that you exist as. That coming through is just another level of your expression. You're multidimensional. See, we think that we're always having to learn things, and we go through these process, and you got to study to do this for 6 years, or be a doctor, and all this other stuff. The truth of it, the reality of it is once you're tapped into this infinite consciousness, you can really just begin to download information. You stream it like the internet streams information. You also start to stream information. And by streaming information, you're able to do things normally that you wouldn't be able to do. And the only reason why you weren't able to do them is because you were limited. You were in a limited state of consciousness. You were sleeping. You were in the lower parts of the brain. Technology such as the HAARP frequencies and all these different things that are used is to keep your energy at such a low level, so fragmented. Now, if we look at it, it seems like it's low frequency, right? That frequency, even in the word low frequency, doesn't tell you the whole story either. Because you can raise a HAARP frequency, you can raise it to a very high level and extent. You're raising it. You're building up the momentum of it. But yet, because it's negative and positive, and it's all broken up, it's dark and light, it's creating more separation. So it's in its lowest form. It's in a finite construct. So you have to keep breaking things down and go beyond those levels of perceiving from only one perspective. The scientist, which is interesting about the scientist, they look at things in many different ways. And the reason why when we approach things as a scientist, we don't get locked into the tunnel vision. We don't get locked into the tunnel vision because we're always looking beyond that one level of perceiving something. Your angles, you look from things from many different angles, you can begin to see what it really exists as. That's what makes things different. What's a decision? A decision in the limited state is basically made based on a choice. Again, a finite construct being negative, positive, blue pill, red pill, heaven or hell, finite or infinite, whatever the label you give it, it puts you in this level of separation. Even the word God, when we break the word God down, by itself, God, by itself, just saying God, does not connect you fully into this source energy connection, because that word is fragmented. It's been fragmented on purpose. The frequency that carries, because it's so connected to religion. The word God is connected to religion, right? We go, well, if you're Buddhist or you're Baptist or you're Christian, it's the same God or whatever. But what the thing is you're still tied to the belief system even of that concept, the oneness of religion. What does that mean? That locks you into this third density of perception, of perceiving. So if we take God and we break God down, the word God, and we go down and we look it into a number system, what we see that God is really stating infinite. It's infinite. When you decode the word, it actually is infinite. Now, when you make a connection like that, consciously make a connection like that, what you begin to do is you begin to tap into the actual word itself, but the frequency, the true frequency, the higher aspect, the multidimensional spectrums of that frequency. Because now when we start to go into the infinite, now we start to go into the next layer. You begin to look as the observer in the infinite state. So for instance, let's say you get into a conversation with somebody, and out of that conversation and connecting to that conversation, so say you're standing in front of somebody, say you're even on the phone with somebody. Now, from a finite perspective, you see yourself, say you're in, I'm in Texas, and say someone else is in Boston, and we still see the separation that we're in two different states. Therefore, we're not able to interlink with that being, because we already have separation on the consciousness. The moment we go into no longer seeing a separation and going into actually interlinking to that being, because you're just a mirror of everything, that being is the mirror of you in third density. It's expressing its uniquism through its own DNA, through its own experience. So its DNA will look much different than your DNA, but at the same time, on the molecular structure, the DNA looks the same. It's the level of interlinking and the experience of the DNA that looks different. The crystallization of the DNA, et cetera, et cetera. So now that if you connect, when you connect in that moment to that, now what you've done is you brought in another perception level. So out of that perception level, now you can see both you can hear both you and the other person, the other sentient being, from a different perspective. So now you're seeing simultaneous, you get to participate in your own interaction levels as you talking to yourself and them talking to themselves, which opens up no resistance, which creates expression. Expression is experience and the fluidity of that experience. So once this happens in that moment, what you then do is you go into this final state where you literally go into the infinite, and you look at it from source energy's perspective, which you are, and you see all levels of that happening simultaneously. Now, when this happens, you are connected to their system, their energetic system. They are connected to your energetic system. So, therefore, you get to have your memory systems repaired through that conversation because you're both connected to source energy. So you're bringing in the memory system of source energy in those moments. So you're creating a quantum wave